Let me tell you a completely made-up story, okay? Completely hypothetical, a cautionary tale about a man named Tom, who now his family thinks he's a complete lunatic. Tom, let's say, is a loyal listener of this program. He's read The Great Reset. He studied the WEF website. He even tried a Built Bar. That's Tom. At first, he thought, this guy, he's overreacting, collapse of the West, whatever. Then he started to do his own research. Now Tom is wide awake, and he wants to make sure his family is ready because he feels responsible for their protection. Boy, can anyone relate? Well, his wife, Lacey, might love Tom, but is not really like Tom. Might have been one day before they started pumping out kids. Now they've got 3 kids under 5. And Lacey, Tom's wife, she's at home with the kids all day. She just wants to have an adult conversation from time to time. She also has an elderly mother. So she's got a lot of responsibility too. She rarely has a moment to breathe. Nonetheless, study ESG scores. Not high on Lacey's list. The kids were screaming over the radio when Tom years ago said, "You should listen to Glenn Beck." She would just like quiet in the house from time to time. Her mother always forgets to put on her hearing aids and then turns the TV up to, was it 10 on about 6 million. One day, after listening to my show recently, Tom decided it was time for the family to start preparing. But he knew he and his wife needed to make the decision together. Way to go, Tom. So last week, Tom decided to approach his wife in the kitchen. She was making lunch. She had a 3-year-old that was bumbling and babbling relentlessly under her feet, and she hadn't slept much the night before because the baby kept waking up. They had guests arriving for a weekend stay in less than an hour, but Lacey had spent the morning helping her mother, trying to find her heart medicine, so the house was still a mess. And Tom thought, you know what? Now is the right time. I have no time to waste. Tom decided now is the time to talk to Lacey. The collapse of the West is right around the corner, Tom bellowed to his wife, to which she replied, "You have been listening too much to Glenn Beck. Everything is fine." Tom, stunned, eked out a series of breathless words punctuated by rapid and indiscernible arm movements. World Economic Forum, digital currency, Dugan, the oil. And then he went to the Glenn Beck standby. It's a trap! Thoroughly exhausted, Tom collapsed to the floor, staring blankly into space. Lacey looked on in horror. Not now, honey. We have guests arriving. Tom collected himself and scuttled out of the kitchen, cloaked in abject failure and sweat. Okay, this is an example of what not to do. Now, how do I know? Because while I'm not Tom, I, of course, said more than just World Economic Forum, digital currency, Dugan, oil, it's a trap. I said more than that. A lot more. And I'm surprised that some of the family members who don't listen to me all the time, but know that Uncle Glenn kind of knows what's going on, and so they look to me for time to time for an update, I decided to tell them everything. Not a good decision. So let me break it down on the things that Tom and I have both learned. Some rules that maybe you should take when talking to your family about, it's a trap. pick the right time. Now, I'm not sure when that time is, because in a busy household, it never seems to be the right time. But pick the right time. Half asleep? No. In-laws arriving in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 years? No. Not the right time. Baby's birthday party? Sure. A classic tale to laugh about years to come. But have you lost your mind? You need to pick a low-stress time where you can really talk. Now, immediately I think maybe a romantic weekend. No, not a good time. In couples counseling, they teach couples to employ the acronym HALT, H-A-L-T, HALT. Before you have any serious conversation, halt and ask yourself a few questions. Is she hungry? Don't do it. Is she angry? Honey, I got nothing to say. Is she lonely? I just want some adult time. Or is she tired? Yeah. If one or more or all of them apply, wrong time to talk. Now, here's my question for the counselor.
What on earth happened to you this weekend?
It was not good. It was not good.
This is an amazing. So
yeah, it was not good.
You tried to explain to your family the doom we all face in some level of detail. No.
And
you picked the wrong time.
No. Okay. So they're my family. So they said, what are you doing to prepare? And I told them what I'm doing to prepare. And they all went, really? And I said, yeah, but I mean, it may not happen, and it may not happen right now, but I think we should all be prepared and start thinking along these lines. Well, they didn't hear it may not happen right now. And then they also went home and they saw, the new red phone being put on the desk of the Oval Office and with Putin. And the fact that, we're at DEFCON 2 in Europe. And the other, my favorite was, by the way, we're the State Department. If you're an American citizen in Russia, run for your lives. Get out right now, run for your lives. That probably notched them up a little bit in the panic scenario. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be worried about right now.
So I went to them and said, look. I am sorry because I feel very alone in the family because I don't tell the family, I don't go home and do all this. If they want to listen, they can listen. And there's many things that I believe that I shall never say but I shall never say the things that I do not believe. And so there's lots of things that I don't say because you don't want to live in my head. You do not want to live in my head. It's a very dark and scary place. So, and it causes a problem with me. And I bet as a dad, if you feel the way I do, you might feel this way. You might feel very, very alone because you're like, everyone is depending on me. I'm trying to hey, let's go out and just watch the kids play soccer this week. Let's do that because I'm not stressed out or thinking about anything at all. I'm just thinking about, let's have a good time. Okay, who wants to go to Shakey's Pizza afterwards? I know I do. All right. That's the way I feel. Like I'm just faking all of the. Oh yeah, no, me thinking. What are you thinking, honey? Oh, nothing. I definitely wasn't thinking about 18 minutes before, missiles would hit here and how we would possibly survive and get out of ground zero. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just nothing. So when somebody says, no, really, Uncle Glenn, tell me, Oh, I was glad to share the burden. Not a good idea. So what I said to them is, be prepared. Just be prepared. Just here's what you need to do. And I didn't tell them this at the time. I told them this yesterday when there was a big conference call with the whole family, and many of them were like, we can never let our wives down to your house ever again. You're not allowed to call here. Mm-hmm. Stop. And so I talked to everybody and I said, look, here's the thing. All of these things are true. All of these things are true, but you cannot, there's only so much you can do. And the first thing that's going to happen, and I explained this to them, that Tanya and I, for the last week, we have been trying to make some really big decisions on things. You can't make them all at once. You can't have that big conversation even all at once. You have to break them down into bite sizes. And you'll think like I'm not making any progress because I haven't made any decisions. All last week, Tanya and I tried to have one conversation about one item on our list. And it's hard to think about these things. It's hard to think. There's no, you know what? Go to the bookstore. There's got to be a self-help book on what to do, if your country's about to collapse. There's no self-help on that. There's nothing.
There are zombie apocalypse self-help
books.
And maybe you can follow those.
I might get to a point where I'm like, oh, a zombie is involved? Eat me now. But it's hard. So you just have to do the best you can. And all last week, Tanya and I, we haven't made a decision yet, but we're closer because we had 5 or 6 nights of just having, honestly, 5-minute conversations before both of us were like, I'm exhausted. I can't even think about it. I just shut down. It's really hard because it involves everything. So what you need to do is just the next right thing. And the next right thing would be on the political side. Call your state house, your Senate, your House of Representatives, call your governor's office and say no ESG. Pass a bill, no ESG. You don't even have to do that if you're just concerned about you. Go to the store, and every time you buy food, you know this. This is not doomsday. This is just inflation. Every time you buy something, buy 2 if you can. And then store the second one. And then when you run out of the first one, don't use the second one. Go to the store and buy 2 again. And store the second one there. And just keep doing that until you have, I don't know if you saw this. Was it Colgate, I think? I don't know. One of the toothpaste. They're saying that it's going to be $10 a tube this summer. $10 a tube for toothpaste. Okay. All right. Wow. Maybe we should buy some toothpaste as well. Just do the next right thing and start knocking them off. You cannot approach this the way, I've spent 25 years doing this. I've spent the last 20, almost 18 years, actually since September 11th, really, about 20 years just focused on what I think we're entering into now. To bring people up to speed is tough, and you don't want to scare them. So don't invite me to any parties, because I'll make everyone cry. Okay, there it is.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.